Welcome to the Genesis Mindset. We're going to have a quick look at the joy number, which is rapidly making its way to zero. And what does that actually mean when it gets to zero? Also, DecentraliseMe. Is DecentraliseMe back? So we're going to have a look at what's been happening with the marketing campaign with DecentraliseMe, and then also 99Capitals, and we're going to have a quick look at the price charts as well. So obviously, we're going to keep things positive here. We're well aware of everything that's happened with Richard's tweets today, but there's enough information out there on that. We're just staying focused on the positive. So the joy number has rapidly declined. So it's on 322 million. So today it was I think it started in the 500 millions, went through the 400 millions, now down into the 300 million. So we're really hoping to see it into the 200 millions by the end of the day. So when I made this tweet was this afternoon, so about 8 hours ago from now, and it's dropped 40 million since then. So it just keeps rapidly flying down. So that's all I'm focusing on, just that. Forget everything else, just focus, eyes on the prize. Now, what does that actually mean? So I'm not a rocket scientist, but everybody's talking about pDAI, and an obvious unfolding events are going unnoticed by the community. So the number one is going down quickly. The number one thing is joy is going down quickly. So flop auctions can be called when joy equals zero. So he made this tweet when it was also 322. So it has stagnated on 322 for basically the last maybe 4 or 5 hours, perhaps. So number two, you will bid an auction using pDAI to receive PMaker tokens that will burn pDAI, which is positive for price action, and create new PMaker tokens. The current amount of tokens in AMMs is not enough for users to govern protocol pooled PMaker, which is 6,482.91. I did not know this. I knew that you'll bid on auction using pDAI to receive PMaker tokens that will burn pDAI. I did not know this. So when joy goes to zero, the flop auctions get activated, and then so you burn pDAI to receive PMaker. This creates new PMaker tokens. So at the moment, one of the biggest issues, wow. One of the biggest issues that we've encountered so far is that the control of the protocol is in the hands of, I believe, outside of the system. So the largest holders is not someone within Pulse Chain, to the best of my knowledge. So what we do know is there was some wallets that people have speculated were connected to the origin address, which have minted billions, over 10 billion tokens when Pulse Chain first launched. This was the first inflation bug. So this was Somi, the Somi FUD. So shout out to you, Somi. What a trooper, what a warrior. So when stream, people harass Somi for a stream. Tell him Coexistence Steve and your friend Somi stream. So backed by, well, first time popular demand. So now what this means, if we're burning the pDAI supply, the pDAI supply is getting reduced, which is bullish for the price. And then also new PMaker tokens are being minted out. So whoever those wallet addresses were at the start that minted those billions and billions of pDAI, they can take over the contract and they can then control PMaker. And so we're kind of crossing our fingers that this is going to be a team, a positive team, a good team, someone that's in benefit of Pulse Chain. That's really what we're crossing our fingers for. And at the minute, I'm yet to see any evidence that this is a negative consequence from all of this. So number three, entity or group of people who will win most of the auctions and generate 150,000 PMaker can call an emergency shutdown of the protocol without admin keys. So this is, wow. Okay. So I'm only reading this now with you guys because I saw this tweet and I'm like, right, I have to do a video of this. So emergency shutdown module. So the ESM allows PMaker holders to shut down the system without a central authority. Once 150,000 PMaker are entered into the ESM, emergency shutdown can be executed. So this is bullish. So even if 150,000 PMaker is not generated, but more than 46,231 PMaker is, you can take over Maker DAO and govern it through executive proposals. Wow. Custom spell voting. So it is also possible to vote on a custom spell address. Only use this in case of emergencies. View custom spell voting page. So system info. So PMaker on the governing proposal is 46,231. So PMaker in liquidity is PMaker liquidity 431. So there's really not a lot in liquidity. So summary, FUD was created so people will let go of their pDAI tokens. Liquidity was removed on DAI pDAI at maximum selling pressure. So whoever removed it collected most pDAI tokens. Last time I have checked, it was in billions. These pDAI tokens will be used to bid on flop auctions, collect newly minted PMaker, and govern the protocol, setting new savings values, pools, etc., including stopping Dong from minting more tokens. 4, you have a functional protocol. So thank you. No is cooking. We will be back with great news and updates on Banana Republic. I've already given him a great summary. Boy, oh boy, nobody's seen this. Holy smokes. Okay, so yeah, what do you guys think of that? So again, I'm only focusing on the positives. I believe in something more happening here than just pDAI going to $1. This is about being able to stabilize value. This is about being able to be a truly decentralized financial system outside of the custody of anyone. No censorship resistance, no censorship rather, no admin keys. We can really take control of this protocol and it would become a truly decentralized financial system. So this is very, very, very exciting as far as I'm concerned. So let's now get on to this. So what timing? This was 2 hours ago. So pDAI is the world's first volatile asset expected to become stable. What makes pDAI unique? It provides the opportunity to buy a stablecoin under $1, no central entity controlling issuance or redemptions. It's built on Pulse Chain, scalable, low infrastructure. This needs to be continuously shared out. So this is part of DecentraliseMe's marketing. So some people are saying, oh, DecentraliseMe's disappeared with the money and he's just doing these posts for himself. But the timing of this post when we're really at maximum noise, it's really spreading everywhere. We had Bob Lucas posting about Hex the other day. He probably wouldn't know what pDAI is, but he's hearing about it. He would certainly be hearing about the Pulse Chain and Hex community through pDAI. So this is spreading everywhere throughout all of Bitcoin. Morales, Ivan on Tech, they're all, people are talking about it. They're seeing it. They won't recognize it. They won't acknowledge it, but they are seeing it. Now, NineIronCapital's tweet. So we're witnessing an unbelievable battle. Neither the blue nor red teams can recognize each other, and both believe they are on the right side of history. The flop auctions are about to mint at least 220,000 PMaker, a 20% increase, leaving 3 final scenarios, pDAI to $1. So let's have a look at this picture. So PMaker in surplus. So post Pulse Chain's fork, PMaker went into surplus as its broken oracles and minting bug was exploited. This was fixed via a governance vote in July 2023. So there was the minting bug where billions and billions of pDAI and PMaker as well might have been minted, and then that was fixed via a governance vote. And the oracle is still broken. So this is something, but this can be fixed by this reset that we spoke about here. I believe, based on, it's ended now, but Housing has been doing some dev-related tweets, some dev-related spaces, and I believe that, yes, it had something to do with that. So in the past 2 months, the 5996 wallet has been minting 4 pDAI, to force 10 pDAI into a bad debt auction. The 5996 has now stopped cleaning up the bad debts, and the joy is draining quickly. Okay, so we had PMaker in surplus, then we had PMaker in deficit when he was minting 4 pDAI to force 10 pDAI into a bad debt auction. So that's all to do with these numbers. So now this is the queued debt, 890 million. That's why it's dropped so much today. The 5996 has now stopped cleaning up the bad debts and the joy is draining quickly. So now we've seen this rapidly drop. So basically it was fluctuating between 800 and 900 million for probably 2 or 3 days from when I first noticed it. And now it's rapidly dropped by like 300-400 million in the last 2 days. So we are here. Flop auctions begin. So we're here. So we're waiting for those flop auctions to begin. So when this goes to 0, so then what's going to happen? So these are the 3 scenarios. 5996 gets PMaker. So this is Scam Long Dong, who has a bigger PP than Richard Hart. And then we have PulseX gets PMaker, or haters get P maker. So we have these three scenarios. So now, scenario number one, which is the top option, the flop auctions go to the 5996 team. They will use P maker to reset the oracles and force the rest of the bad debts into default. The final flock option will be huge, and this P maker will be used in PRV to back pDAI to $1. And have to remember that NineIronCapital is also showing all these protocols, P maker, P balancer, P compound, all being like interconnected and being worked on the back end. So we are here, flop auctions, and this is option one. So resets the oracles, then P balance flash loans, and then the peg. Hang on. So what have we got here? So scenario one resets the that will use a P maker to reset the oracles and force the rest of the bad debts into default. So then the P bal will go to flash loans, and then this will create a peg. So wow, I mean NineIronCapital. So scenario number two, which is the middle. So scenario number two is PulseX LP gets the P maker, and then it looks like it's then going to go to reset the oracles. So the flop auctions are sold on PulseX. If pDAI believers get the P maker and cast a spell, we can vote to lower all debt ceilings to 0 and remove collateral from the vaults. This would stop the bad debts cleaning up. This would stop the bad debt cleanup and force vaults into a flop. This, to me, would be the ultimate scenario, the middle scenario. This, to me, would be like the most decentralized option where this team doesn't get to decide, but everybody gets to decide in this option. So, 3.2, scenario 2. It is possible that someone can replicate 5996's actions. If they are pro pDAI, they could burn the minted pDAI, push the bad debts in to be flogged, and create an enormous deficit that would need to be repaid. This would allow the community to reset PMaker. And then scenario 3, which is the bottom one. Scenario 3 here is ESM and game over. All right, so the flop goes to those that think PMaker is broken and can never realize its potential. They self-destruct PMaker, its potential, and everything that decentralized finance stands for. So I'm going to give everything else a tick, but option 3. This is the worst outcome for the Pulse chain, in my view. I completely agree. As a reminder, a new spell needs 46,000 PMaker to vote it through. So all 3 potential endpoints are possible. There are no admin keys for pDAI, 0. See, that's counter to what Richard Hart is saying. So there are votes within the PMaker DAO. These votes can cast spells to fix the system. Oracles can be rebuilt. As the hate towards pDAI rises, remember, I'm just a commentator. I mean you no harm, and none of this is financial advice. It's just been a privilege to analyze the story. pDAI deflation is here. Deficit mode is engaged. The flop auction is on. I'm not going to get into all the speculation. There's so much speculation about what Richard Hart is saying and what this side of the perspective is, and maybe he's meaning this and maybe he's meaning that. I'm not going to get into any of that. It really is doing my head in. It's not good for my being. I can feel straight away as soon as I go into it, my whole being turns into turmoil. So what am I doing? I'm just focusing on the light. I'm just focusing on the vision. I'm just moving forward to the direction. And if it works, profound. If it doesn't, we've made our beds. I've made my bed. I've made my choice. So now let's have a look here. So DAI, this was again the Richard Hart FUD. It went up to, I mean, it's probably not even really worth saying this, but yeah, Richard Hart pulled all the LP, I believe, or the OA wallets pulled the LP, but the liquidity is up to 900K, so it's nearly 9 million. This keeps flipping back and forth. So then this was Richard Hart, I believe. Maybe this was the Richard Hart FUD. So it got up to about here, then it tanked, and then the Richard Hart FUD, and then here we go. So now it started to slowly rise back up. So look, until this gets to 0, until something happens, I feel like there's going to be more FUD. I feel like the pain is going to continue. So let's just take care of each other out there. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do think that there's going to be some more pain. So let's be mindful of that. Let's take care of each other. Let's be gentle to each other. Let's just be caring and positive. And you know what? Yeah, I mean, the debate is there. I can't do anything about the debate. So everybody, I'm just going to leave it at that. Just take care of yourselves, everybody.